up, everybody? Welcome to the Comic Game Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I just want to give a quick review because, as some of you know, I recently, maybe like a month ago, got a PlayStation 5. And it took me a long time to get my hands on this thing, but once I finally got my hands on this thing, I have not had a PlayStation since PlayStation 2. Since PlayStation 2. I have not had a PlayStation since PlayStation 2. So when I finally got this PlayStation, this new PlayStation, I had the opportunity to go back and play certain games that I haven't been able to play. So I figured I would let you guys go along on this journey with me of going back and playing some of these older games, some games that have come out that I never got the chance to play, that I'm playing now, beating now, and I'm going to review them for your enjoyment. And first off, since this is a comic gamer movie show, I finally managed to play Spider-Man, the PlayStation Spider-Man game. Not only did I manage to play that, I beat that, the DLCs, and Miles Morales. So, what do I think of these games? They're fucking fantastic. Now, I will tell you this. I would not play Miles Morales first and then play the original Spider-Man, though those games basically work together. Like, basically, I wouldn't play Miles Morales first because you're going to have a whole bunch of things spoiled for you for the original Spider-Man. Just, anyways. But, the game itself is so beautiful, it's so well designed, the swinging mechanics are great and fluid, and the combat system, while it takes some getting used to, it's both awesome and challenging. Not too different, or not, it's different, but in the same way of like Arkham City. Like, it's both like you feel like a badass, but at the same time, you can make mistakes and get your ass kicked. You can make mistakes very easily and get your ass kicked if you're not paying attention. So even if you feel like a badass, the game will remind you, and the stakes keep rising and rising and rising, and it's such a beautiful story. Now, this version of Spider-Man, I'm going to review the Spider-Man first game, because these games work together as tandem, but I'll tell you when I start reviewing Miles Morales. So, this takes place, Peter Parker is like 25 years old, 24, 25, something like that. So, he's been Spider-Man for a good long while, like 8 years, some shit like that. He's been Spider-Man for a while. He has fought many villains, he has done a lot of things, him and his aunt him and MJ are on the rocks at the beginning of this. Like, it seems like things are a bit on the rougher side with them when they reunite. But he's still Spider-Man. He's still struggling to pay the bills and whatnot as he works for Otto Octavius, who at this point in the game, at the beginning, you know where this is going. When they introduce Otto Octavius, you know where it's going. But Norman Osborn, Otto Octavius are big characters who loom big over the game. And at the beginning of the game, they do this awesome thing, which all great superhero games, I think, should do this. It's all great superhero games should, which is you start the game off with a big epic fight sequence, and allowing you to swing through the city and go and take on Wilson Fisk Kingpin right up top was awesome. The character is so Spider-Man, the quips, all of it. And the gadgets you unlock are cool as well. So many gadgets, so many different ways to use those gadgets, so many different ways to use them in tandem. Use these gadgets in tandem. And there's so much to do in this city. So many Easter eggs, so much to do. So many unlockables, the costumes. There's like 30 unlockable costumes. And they essentially have every single costume he has ever had in a film, including the Tobey Maguire one, the Andrew Garfield one, all the fucking MCU suits, even some from the Into the Spider-Verse. They have all of these suits, and it's so cool. So cool, all this stuff, all the collectibles, and then to tie it all together, this compelling story that's classic Spider-Man, but something new. It's a bit different, but it's classic Spider-Man story. Introducing a new villain in Mr. Negative, who has a connection to you and your Aunt May and whatnot. So there's so much to do here, so much. And even the DLCs are a part of the story, because these DLCs are pretty much what DLCs should be, really. Well, they're not exactly how I thought they were going to be, but they're mostly what I think DLC should be, which is an extension of the game, which is extra shit that you didn't need. I don't mind a DLC that unlocks a part of the map, that gives you more missions that, you know, you can play at any point, at the end of the game, the beginning of the game, at any point. I don't mind those, but it is really cool when a DLC like shows you the aftermath of the events, because this game gets nuts at a certain point. At a certain point, the raft, which is just floating out there, by the way, gets raided. It is fucking wild in the streets. I mean, wild in the streets. I mean, at a certain point in this game, every time you swing, there's a sniper looking to aim at you. At a certain point in this game, there are nothing but fights and gang members all the way down as far as you can see. This game gets nuts at a certain point. And it's so fun, it's so compelling, it's so emotional. Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man game, was everything that people said it was. I held out looking at any videos, looking at anything on this. I didn't look at anything on Miles Morales because I wanted to wait till I could play these games myself. And I am happy that I did that because I thoroughly enjoyed this PlayStation Spider-Man game. Thoroughly. Great story, great characters, great voice work, great mechanics. You know, do I wish that the DLCs were more individualized? Because, minor spoilers, the DLCs are really just one big DLC. I mean, that's really what they are. Like, it seems like they're not, but they really are they're one big story, DLC. You know, it's not like, oh, this is an isolated thing and this is an isolated thing. Like, it's like, no. These are one big little story. But either way, I enjoyed it. Now, moving on to Miles Morales, I think Miles Morales is exactly what you imagine it would be. Because the mechanics are better. It's smoother. You know, it's still the same game, but the mechanics are better. It's smoother. Miles has the ability to do stuff he had to unlock, which threw me off. That he had the ability to do stuff he had to unlock in the other game, which completely threw me the fuck off. I was like, whoa, he could just do this, he could just do that. Another great story, another great compelling story that takes a different angle on it, that really focuses on a section of the city. Like I said, it's another fun one. A lot of unlockables, a lot of Easter eggs. Now, Miles Morales really is like a big DLC. It's kind of like Undead Nightmare or that Far Cry New Dawn when they came out with that thing, where it's like, I'm not sure you could sell that game as a full game. I'm not sure you could sell Miles Morales as a full game because it is really a big ass DLC. Really, it's a fat DLC. It really is. But it's a great game. Still fun. Had a great time with it. It breezed through, having a new character, new dynamics, because Miles has Genki, and he has his mom, and there's more of a social media vibe to Miles because he has this little app and whatnot, and there's more of a youthful enthusiasm to him. Even the way he swings is completely different than Peter. Like when Peter swings, he's like doing all the classic Spider-Man poses, and when Miles swings, he's like, whoa! I loved all that. Like these two games together as one big story, because really you gotta look at it like that. These two things are like one big story. It's kind of like Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul or something like that. You know, like it's like, or Breaking Bad and that movie they came out with on Netflix not that long ago. It's like, that's what these two games are, and I figured I should review them together, and I loved it. Had such a blast. Both of these games get 10 out of 10 together. They definitely get a 10 out of 10. If you got a PlayStation and you have not played the Spider-Man games at all, I would do yourself a favor. Go check them out, especially if you're a comic book fan. Do yourself a favor. I am so happy I got a PlayStation. Honestly, by the time I got done finished playing these games, I was like, this was worth the money alone. Thank you guys for joining my Comic Game Movie Show again. Please like, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.